Good afternoon. How are you? Well, it's, according to Thomas Jefferson, about 86 degrees, which is better than 96 degrees. And it feels comfortable. I don't know what the humidity is, but it's low, and the wind is not blowing. As you can tell by the fact that my voice is clear and understandable. The way to compare what we see on a daily basis now, you can see in some of these YouTube videos. It goes like this. Some guy stands on top of a roof with a tree there nearby and a point of landing down below. It's a young person, and you almost can hear him mutter, "Hold my beer." And he goes to jump and misses the tree, and then when he falls down, he doesn't fall where he's supposed to and he hits something else. The people who are asking Biden to withdraw, they're that guy up on the roof. They have no idea how this is going to work. They're just going to reassure everybody out of desperation it must work. So you ask Biden to withdraw, let's run the traps. And then some say, I don't really like his vice president, as some have already said, by the way. So we have to replace both the president and the vice president. Now, at the instant they think anything like this, there's $100 million, I think, sitting in a war chest that they can't use if they change the personnel dramatically. They've made identifications and filings in 50 states about these things. And there are requirements when to file and how to file and who must file and so on. Okay, so let's suppose this goes smoothly and Kamala hasn't been hearing people talking about replacing her, which I'm sure she's heard, which I would think would drive her to be even closer to Biden resisting everything that's going on. And I have no reason to think she's drifted at all, because I think she's savvy about these things. But, okay, so somehow or other, she agrees to step in as the president if Biden steps out. Who's going to be the vice president? There are a whole bunch of stories about this. Just think of that guy up on the roof, still looking down, looking at that tree and that place on the ground. And he's going to hit both of those without any problem. Jump up, they'll play some music from his cell phone, and everybody will get a kick out of it, and he'll show it for years afterwards, instead of what actually happens. So if we don't have a vice president, which we won't have if Kamala is promoted without event, then who's that? I don't know. Anybody think there's going to be a fight over that? There is one congressperson today who said she thinks that Biden should withdraw, and she moved that her governor be the person that becomes vice president. You see where this goes. Now, when your first priority is thinking about how you're going to look rather than how you're going to do it, the old show horse versus the workhorse syndrome, you got to ask a lot of questions. And if we change both people on the ticket, is this a new ticket? They have access to the money, and what are they going to do? And are those like myself going to come out and say, "We told you so," for the next several months? Now, that's not what I would do, but some will, and I quite understand it. Our situation, as I simply describe it, is there are those who hold carving knives in their right hand and are stabbing Joe Biden in the back. Somebody said, "How could I say that?" And I said, "Well, you're right." They also are stabbing him in the chest, in the heart, in the soul. And he said that he's hurt. I believe he said it today, that people he thought were loyal to him are not. Now, I listened to a clip by the governor of California, Newsom, and he unequivocally stands with Biden. Now, that's a mensch. And he's done it from the beginning, and he's continued to stump for Biden. And some say, oh, he may run 4 years from now. Well, fine. He should. I don't know how he'll do. I might support him. We'll see what the issues are then. Another person who is supporting Biden is Jeffries, the minority leader in the House and active in the Black Caucus. Now that pits him up against the former Speaker, Pelosi, who has been leading the California charge, if you will, with Schiff, and now my old boss, Zoe Lofgren, to say, Biden, you got to leave. With friends like these. I mean, politics is a contact sport, but these guys, in the open they do this. They're not. The one thing that Trump has introduced to us is there's no pretense anymore. There's no cordiality, even as we're devastating someone. We just go right out and do it and say it. Yeah, he's no good. But what I love is they say, oh, I really like Joe. He's done a great job. He's very sweet. But he should go, and it's not personal. Well, it is personal. The personality is of a man who has done amazing things while president, though the only job he had to do is to replace Trump in the White House. And while that is also his job this time around, he's done an awful lot, and we should give him an opportunity to do more, particularly when you contrast what he may do with what others are doing, including Trump. Now, Northern Virginian congressman I've always liked, Connolly, Jerry Connolly, says he knows what the politics and the statistics and everything say, but he's not asking Biden to leave office. And he's not doing what Pelosi does. Are you going to leave? 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 Less polite people would hit her with a wet towel. I was taught never to strike a woman, so even with a wet towel, I wouldn't do that. So we have Pelosi, Schiff, and Zoe Lofgren. Zoe Lofgren is in Silicon Valley. Silicon Valley is more interested in money and Trump. Now, I'm sure Zoe made an independent decision and wasn't affected by Pelosi or Schiff, whom she helped when he first ran for Congress. All of that's good. But not when it comes to betraying Biden. Not when it comes to upending the millions of votes Biden won in primaries. So this is really something for these people to say, oh, it's not personal. What do they think is personal? Personal as if I actually punched him in the mouth? I think he'd strike back. But maybe they'd only do it when he had COVID. Then they'd punch him in the mouth. Huh? One night in a debate gave an opening to those who don't want to pay taxes, who don't want restrictions on high-tech gear. And we could go on. In other words, this is not about Joe Biden, except the kind of presidency that they fear. And the presidency that they fear is the one we want, we the people want. That's why Jeffries and the Black Caucus and black affiliated organizations and individuals, they know who Biden is. And they're for him. And they're standing by him. There's only been one defection among the House Democrats in the Black Caucus. 1 out of 60, by the way. So, think about the comparison of these two men and how unseemly it is to watch them repeatedly stab Biden in the back. Now, people complained about Biden's performance. We had a 90-minute speech last night. I did not listen to any of it, but I have read the reports today. And in that speech, he talked about his almost death experience. Save us. What a man of courage. A man of courage doesn't talk about these things. A coward who was put in the position didn't do anything himself. Oh, I'll go one further. Trump's the loser. He doesn't believe in our military. He doesn't believe in our alliances. He gets scratched on the face, and I still think it's something else than a bullet. Can't imagine anything smaller than a 22 that might give him the minimal injuries he has. But there it is. He's going to cover that ear forever. You know, as a kid in my neighborhood, if you got a really decent bruise, everybody would look at it. Wow, look at that. Look what happened to Johnny. That's what they called me when I was a kid. I never really liked it, by the way. So, not even a New York minute does it take for Trump to talk about himself. So he gave a self-indulgent, Castro-length-like speech. And the irony is, Castro did it better. He was... Castro is better than Trump at long, long speeches. But Trump is a self-absorbed, self-aggrandizing person who doesn't give a damn what anybody feels, and so he forced people to listen to his garbage. Now, I think that 90-minute speech, and even what Trump did at the earlier so-called debate, he didn't shine either. In fact, he didn't answer the questions, and he used it to ask questions of Biden, which I had stated would be the things I would expect he would do. And Biden has since said, without diminishing the fact that he was sick at the time, that he heard him in the back talking even though the mics were turned off. So, can we get over the people in Milwaukee happy as could possibly be, smiling as they get ready, if they can win, possibly to screw the nation? I think we have to learn from the Black Caucus. And we have to see how many white folk come over to Biden again. And how many people without a financial stake, and how we write the laws and enforce them, and how we move imports and exports. Because America's about more than that. We have been in the past a hybrid of the capitalism and social concern for others. That's why we're considered to have such a government, because of the freedoms, the equality. You know, even though we strive at it and sometimes don't achieve it, like now, ever since 2016, basically, when Trump entered the arena and tried to pull it down. So, in the days ahead, if you look at what the Black Caucus is doing, then you can stand with them and go forward. I've looked at the polls, and the polls usually, after a convention in recent years, has not been dramatic. Sometimes 1 point, 2 points, the kick that they get, and then the kick recedes. So I've been following 538, as I've told you, and with Democrats out there pummeling the hell out of Biden, and whatever bump it is that Trump gets from the convention, there's only 1 point loss to Biden when I checked. Now, I expect the longer these Democrats keep it up, the further they push back Biden until they have overcome any clear thinking and convinced too many Americans that 2 + 2 = 5, as was the example in 1984, when showing how you force people to stop thinking and to mimic what I tell you. We should be looking at these Democrats whom we've admired and take a fresh look, because now we're in a really difficult situation. And you have Pelosi saying that Biden is going to make up his mind on the weekend. I don't know if she knows that. I don't know what the negotiations are. The public reports are there are no negotiations. But she knows if you say it, it becomes real, even if untrue. You know, she doesn't say, stay in the race. What she says, well, have you made up your mind to withdraw? Have you made up your mind to withdraw? Have you made up your mind to withdraw? Pelosi, you withdraw. You withdraw. A nation embraced you and your husband when he was beaten, possibly at the risk of his life. And you can forget Biden's sympathy to you in those moments and distrust that he has the strength, despite his age, younger than you, to go forward and to win this race or give it the best possible fight that anybody can have, including that guy up on the roof, thinking he can jump to the tree and jump to the ground and have a song played on his cell phone as he stands up triumphantly. Doesn't happen that way, won't happen that way here. So, I am out in a more comfortable march through the Cathedral of Trees, and I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. They say it's going to be cool. Imagine that.